Hello and welcome back to Career Talks with Jide Zubar. Before commencing today's chat, I believe strongly that I need to apologize to everyone who has ever spent their time watching any of my podcasts because I've been away for too long. 2 years is not a short time. I was just very busy. I couldn't manage planning and delivering good content with my job. However, my strong passion for these conversations and the value I hope to give to you, my audience, I will try my best possible to keep it going a step at a time. Today, I have a friend and a brother as a guest. He is the managing director and executive officer of Rio-Weighing Systems, which is an indigenous weighing and packaging company in Nigeria. He is a current registered engineer, a graduate of the prestigious University of Ilorin and Lagos Business School, an award-winning business executive. Without further ado, let's jump into this conversation. Hey, Richard, how you doing now?
Fine, my brother, fine. I want to say thank you for having me. We all are fan of your podcast. Some of us have gotten inspired by some of who you presented, and uh, we try as much around here. We try as much to get inspiration from anywhere we can, friends, family, even younger ones, even kids. So your podcast has been inspirational, and thank God that it's back.
Yeah, thank you so much, my brother. I think the best way to start is to start from the beginning, you know, because most of what we have become today started from somewhere, particularly when it comes to career, it started from our education. So I think the best way to start is tell us about your education. How did it start for you?
Well, most people actually thought that I was born in Lagos, but the truth is I was born in Kaduna. I started my educational career from there.
Interesting.
Started my education from Kaduna, Sabon Garis area to be precise. My father happened to be a technician that was attached to Nitel. We all know the popular Nitel, the Nine Mobile. So he worked with
Yeah.
Nitel. He was stationed in Kaduna. I started my primary school education from Kaduna there. Then my dad got transferred to Lagos. So eventually, I continued my primary school education in Lagos here in Adigule to be precise. I was in Anglican primary school.
AJCT.
AJ is is one of the key parts of my growing up. So I had my primary school education there, then secondary school around the same vicinity before I got admission into learning to study. I actually got two admissions, one for electrical and the other for mechanical into University of London. Eventually, I settled for mechanical and then other executive training. So in summary, that is just it.
Okay. So I think the question will be why University of Ilorin? How did you come to decide University of Ilorin?
That's a very good question. What happened was, I think after my secondary school education, I wrote JAM. Then I entered University of Benin. I think University of Benin and Ipoma, because I'm from Edo State, of course. So
Yeah.
eventually, I went to Uniben during the preliminaries. I entered for engineering, of course, mechanical, but they were contemplating transferring me to physics. I have to be transferred to physics. I have to get change of course from and all that. So eventually, I was staying with a friend at a custodian. So when I got back that very evening, what happened was devastating. Then the court season was at the peak. When I got to the hostel, what I saw wasn't what I expected. So I just packed my bag and I ran away from the school entirely. I was young. At that point in time, most of my friends were calling me pastor. So most of those things were not what I was. So I left Uniben immediately because eventually added to it was because I didn't want to settle for physics anyway. But the scene and
Yeah.
what happened the day before just made me make my decision and left Uniben. So I didn't even consider Epoma because from what people were saying that Epoma was also a very fantastic school at that point. So a friend had told me to go to Ilorin, that I should try and come to Ilorin.
Okay.
And a friend, yeah, just a little bit older than I am. He's a total now actually. So he was the one that told me, come to Ilorin and yeah, he's smart kid, what's your problem? When I got to Ilorin, the admission in Ilorin had already closed. I couldn't buy any change of custom and all that. I was encouraged to now settle for remedial. So I got the remedial form, wanted to do
Okay.
A levels with it. I wanted to do A levels. My elder brother discouraged me from doing A level. But eventually, I now wrote JAM. I got admission through the JAM and through the remedial. And now settled for
Remedial.
mechanic. Yeah, one thing that actually
Okay.
made me choose Ilorin was the very day I got to Ilorin, because then I was still reading, expecting to write JAM and all over again. So I went, even, I just went there as a visitor. I wasn't a student then. So I ended up in the theater reading because it had become a culture for me to read every evening. So that was on a Friday. After reading, I started discussing with friends and all that. So I forgot the book. I took the book and I think it was P on PK or so, Philistines book. I forgot it at the theater. So we went to town. So I was disturbed. I was like, how will I get this thing that? But some people now said I should go back and check. But I said, man, I can't find this thing again. So I went back on a Monday morning. I met the book right where I kept it at the theater. That's when I told myself, no, I'm
Wow.
going to go to it. That the place is so organized.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. So you said you had admission for both mechanical and electrical, and then you went for mechanical. Why? Why mechanical? Why not electrical?
So as I said earlier on, actually the guy that invited me to London, that asked me to come over to London, that was going to put me through, he was in electrical. So when I after my remedial, I was given mechanical. But the jam I did, I was given physics. So I had two admission from the same faculty. So when I consulted with so many other people, in fact, there was an incident that happened when we were doing the remedial registration. There was one boy, there was a friend, I met him then, he later became a friend. So we were on queue. So, there were several other courses, sciences, health science, and all that were going to register for remedial. So when the guy now saw me, immediately the guy now said, engine alpha. I was like, I don't know you before. And I said, you can't go for any other course than engineering now. Now look at you. So I now said, I'm actually going for engineering. And I said, what part? And I said, what part do you think? And I said, mechanical, of course. Are you carrying the electrical? You're too hard. So we got joking and all that. But eventually, a lot of people now came into when I needed to make a decision between electrical and mechanical. A lot of people advised me to do mechanical that I will be able to cope with mechanical. And I had friends doing mechanical. So it was just a decision. Just made a decision. Okay, let me get into mechanical.
Okay. That's interesting. I remember that in 300 level, no, that was 400, 300 level IT, when we're doing IT in 300 level. I was sitting in my living room with my family and I saw you on
Okay.
TV. Um, I saw you with Benga Adenika the first, the comedian. I'm like, this person is my classmate at the university. My family were like, Jide, you have come again. Who is? I said, this man is my classmate in the university. Richard Oyathelemhi is my friend. And before we knew it, you won 500,000 naira in 2003 on national
Yeah,
TV. Okay, so
yeah.
how did you get into that program, that competition? I think it was Star or some Shine Bobo program like that at the
Buddha
time.
was Buddha.
How
Buddha.
did you get into
That
that
was
program?
Buddha.
Oh, it was good, huh?
Well, yeah, it was Buddha. I happened to come across a friend that had the one the Crown Cup. The Crown Cup was for game show. They were having weekly game show. That was the last one they did before they did the Ultimate Search, which was now translated, which now became the what they call it now the one they had in the bush. And they had to go into the forest to do search. Well, before that, prior to that, it was just the game show in the studio. So it was an LTV game show. So the guy won the crown and he said he could not participate. And I told him that it's just a game, but he said he doesn't want to go. That I can buy the crown off him. So when I said so, I collected the crown. That's how I ended up at Mainland Hotel. We were accommodated at Mainland Hotel. In fact, it was just joking. So when the game started, I was just laughing eventually. Eventually, was lucky I won. Now, what now was a key part of the game was they had this. a dumbbell. So most times I tell people that now the dumbbell game was a horse. It moves up and down like this, like a dumbbell. And prior to that time, I was a physics student. Yeah, I've been told by my teacher that no matter how that bell moves, that momentarily it's at rest by the side. That although that time is very small, but that's where the bell is at rest. In the middle is where it is at its fastest. So most people, when they throw, they call it taming the horse. So when they try to tame the horse, they do it directly when the horse is opposite them because it's easy for you to target. But they don't know that momentarily the horse is at rest at the sides. So that's where I got my whole point that I won the entire game. So I just targeted it when it's at the side. Targeted it where at the side. So it's an interesting game. Myself, I didn't. It wasn't a planned this thing. Eventually, I even had to do acrobats in the studio. In fact, most of my
Yeah, I was coming
colleagues,
to that. That was the first time I saw you did 3 backflips, I think. I'm like, oh, so this guy can backflip like this.
in fact, what
Anyways, yeah.
I think I
No,
was
no,
really
go
happy.
ahead.
That's the first time in my life that I am having such huge amount of money. When I realized I won, because there were three ladies holding the crown, and the crown was for the Golden Man
Mm.
of the Week. So when I they were asked to choose each of the box. That was the final selection. They were asked to choose each of the box. So the one I chose, the lady there now nodded to me that this is where the crown was. So I knew I had won. So immediately the man said, and the winner is, I've started my acrobatic. So
That was interesting, but that was a lot of money, like you alluded to just moments ago. So, what did you do with that money? 500,000 naira in 2003. What did you do to it? You didn't
back then,
come to school, you
500,000.
didn't share anything with any of your friends in school. I know that for sure.
As a matter of fact, we don't call it 500,000. I will call it 0.5 million naira. It's not 500,000,
Yes.
it's 0.5 million. That's the first time I
Million
became a
naira,
millionaire.
yes.
So what happened then was that I had a relative that wanted to travel overseas, and he was in dire need
Mm-hmm.
of money. So he came and he pleaded with me, and I saw the reason. I was still in school, and the truth is, money has never been my driving force. Money has never been it, but I've always drive to be successful. At the end of the day, money is a key part of our living. But for me, money is not
Mm-hmm.
the driving force behind anything I do. So eventually, I split the money. I think I gave him over 80% of the money for him to travel overseas, and the remaining 15% or thereabout I took to school, and I started a business. That's when I had one or two video clubs in the school. I started a video club. Then I knew I was going to go into business eventually. So that's where I started buying a lot of
Yeah.
notebooks and all that. That's how I spent the money.
Yeah, good, good. So we finished from University of Ilorin 2004, and we all went for NYSC. And it was generally difficult for a lot of people to get their first job, typically in Nigeria, right? Because there are not many opportunities for engineers, right? So I think the question I wanted to ask is, how did you secure your first job in Nigeria after
Uh, as much as I would just like to just answer the question straight, I will add other things that have been bothering me with jobs and engineering in Nigeria. You understand? Oh, let me just answer a question first before I add my own whatever I want to say. Even before the Good of Me search, I've had friends that I'm very, very close to. These are people that could take a bullet for me, if I can use that word. They were very close friends, and they were very committed to our friendship. So after NYSC, a friend of mine was working with a company. The company was actually into automation and weighing equipment. So when the guy was leaving, he was leaving for Lagos Business School. But when we were in school, I told him I wanted to go to Lagos Business School. But he was opportunity to go to Lagos Business School before I did. So when he was leaving, the GM now called him that she needed somebody that he can call, that she will employ that person. That because of his performance in the company. So he now came to me. Then I had several shops in Computer Village. I was buying and selling memory cards, charger. I was importing actually. So he now said, would I want to work? Because he doesn't see my business becoming this big if I, since the money I started, the finance I'm putting into it is actually not much. And I said, okay, what does he want me to do? Now I explained the job. And I said, okay, no problem, I can take the job. So that's how I got the job. Although we were interviewed, but the woman actually, I was actually employed based on recommendation.
That's good. That's an interesting one. And
And
yeah, please go
when they
ahead.
employed me, when they employed me, 2 years later I was made head of the department. 3 years within the line, I was given a brand new car. And in fact, when I was leaving the job, it was a total different story because most of the MD and the GM didn't want me to leave. But eventually I had to leave because I have other dreams. Now, what I wanted to say about jobs in engineering is this. Find out that engineers or people that are unskilled don't have business not having jobs in Nigeria. The truth is, they don't. There's no reason why an engineer shouldn't have a job. I don't see any reason why engineers should actually be teaching in the university, yes, but in secondary school, not engineers. You could have other science people teach actually. Now we have people that are into real estate, that are bankers, that don't know anything about construction, about cars. They do, but most engineers are. I don't know. It's maybe because we don't have that business part right from school. There's that business training is not there because I don't see somebody that studied Yoruba owning a real estate. Why a civil engineer is an employee of that person? It doesn't make any sense for me. And when you hear the person that owns the estate story, he would have struggled to build that estate. So why it would have been easier for any engineer to do such? We have lawyers owning factories. You understand? We have lawyers owning law firm. We have engineers moribund. That shouldn't be it.
So just to add to what you have just said, at times our nature, right, kicks in into all of this. If you are not entrepreneurial, you are not entrepreneurial, regardless of whatever you study. So some people basically are comfortable being employees, while some cannot be employees for too long, or they don't even want to be employees at all. I think that is where the disconnect is. There are a lot of opportunities, but if you are not an entrepreneur, you would not see those opportunities. Okay. So, yes, of course, our training might be lacking of the business angle of engineering, right? But there are so many people that have even gone to business schools, done MBAs, but they cannot still start a
Yeah.
business. They will prefer to work for people because that is more secured for them and that is more comfortable for them. Because it is not easy to do what you guys are doing, you guys that are employing laborers. It's not easy. You have to think about the bottom line of the business. You have to look for how to bring business into the business, or bring opportunity into the business. You have to think of what is the growth plan. All those things. It's not everybody that has the mind to do those. But, it's a fair submission that it's very surprising, that people who are trained to use their mind to create are not at the end of the day doing that. And that's also a shame, I must say. But back to your career when you were still working as an employee with your your former
For my employer.
employer. And of course, we all know how quickly you grew in the system. What would you say was was responsible for your growth within the business, for your
Well,
fast growth?
the department I was made it was actually a department that the company has concluded that they were going to close because at that point a lot of equipment were actually going electronics, And here comes a young mechanical engineer. They just wanted to just be there. You understand? So we had other engineers there. They just made me the head. When I came, through the person I came, they tested me here and there. Within 3-4 months, I was actually at the top of my game. So they just say, why not make me the number? But they had it at the back of their mind to just leave that department. I knew. So I knew what I was up against. So I sat down and I told myself that whatever it's going to cost me, before I leave this company, I'm going to change the department. And eventually that's what I did. So we had marketers. These people were supposed to actually sell the equipment that we are supposed to be servicing. So majorly a servicing firm. They don't produce in Nigeria. They get the equipment from overseas. So we install, maintain, and the rest. So most of the sales rep were not eager to sell this product. And the truth is, most of them didn't actually know this product. You know, they all tend to go for the electronic product that is a little bit easier for them to understand, easy to use, and all that. But at that time, durability lies with the mechanical equipment. You know, they were well fabricated and all that. So I had to pick up the sales part of it. So most times when I go to service, I started selling this equipment. So it got to a point. In fact, I think it took me like 3.5 years or 2.5 years. I was chasing one customer. The guy happens to be the head of environmental business with Total offshore. So eventually the guy now came in with a bulk order. Farmer MD then had to call me. He was surprised. You know, he was surprised. In fact, the next day it was about 2 or 3 months after that, he just said they should give me a car. Then they should transfer me to electronics. So that's how I was made assistant junior manager in electronics immediately. But eventually, I've already made up my mind that I was going to be company.
Yeah, good on you. I remember you left around 2014, thereabouts.
Yeah,
That's
I
when you
actually left.
started
Yeah, towards the end of
Rio-Weighing systems.
that's about ending 2015, 2014. Sorry, 2014. So
2014,
yeah,
yeah. Because 2014, I remember we had a chat about it, and you were looking at getting suppliers from overseas at the time. So
yeah,
10
yeah.
years into the project, what would you say were the challenges or are the challenges that you have faced in your business?
Well, to let me even I forgot to mention why I actually left the business. Then
Oh,
now
okay.
what I realized that what I realized that we had a very good business model, but the owner of the business, you understand, and the investors and all that, he happens to be a foreigner. So his interest is not does not lie here. What he does is he uses his money then spend it elsewhere. He buy apartments, houses all over the world. You understand? So his interest is just to do business as it's fair, the way he wants to do it, which I don't have any issues. But we realize that there is a gap there. Now, let's assuming agriculture still was fully functional, most of this engineering firm would have picked up and would have gone far. Still is a major part of engineering production, also equipment and all that. But that's not to say that one cannot actually start up a business, import steel, and still do what there's so many there are so many countries that don't have the kind of agricultural skill that we have, and they are still producing engineering equipment. They still do. Then what actually made me leave eventually was because after I was being made a general manager, I had a brand new car, but I didn't have money. My salary, my salary was not what a lot of people think it is. So eventually, one of my very close friends, he too went to Ilorin. I don't want to mention his name. So he was having his wedding. He made me one of his groommen. So I went to the traditional wedding. I was able to gather money, went back for an all that citywide. So when the white wedding was taking place, I couldn't buy flight tickets. I had too many other things. So and I couldn't go on the road to Port Harcourt. So during the wedding, he was not calling me, guy, come. We are entering the church. I said, there's no problem. Just enter the church. We'll talk later. And I said, "Are you around?" And I said, "Don't worry about that. Just go for the wedding." So eventually, they went for the wedding. He now came back. He now said that was the issue. And I said, "The issue was money, my friend. The issue was money. And I couldn't go beyond my means at that point." And I said, "Why should I have asked him?" And I said, "I should have contributed to your wedding. Why should I be asking you for money?" That doesn't make sense to me. He said, "No, we would have bought ticket. I bought for so many people." And I said, "That is then." He now said, "How much do I earn?" Yes. And I said, if I was earning less than 1 million at that point, that he knew me from school, that we had the same training. I was earning less than 1 million, that I should resign. And I looked at it. Now, my money wasn't even up to half of that amount he was saying. He now said I could trust him, that I am smart, that he knows that I won't suffer, that I should just resign. So he didn't take me up for like 3 months. I just went in. And when I resigned, I left with 44,000 naira. That was the money that was in my account. I didn't have any business. I didn't have anything. Although within that 3 months, I quickly tried to put in place what I would do eventually when I left.
Yeah.
I've registered the company and all that. So eventually when I left, I called that my friend. I want to do a transaction. He sent me 1 million naira. Immediately I did a transaction and I sent that money back to him. And it has been like that. And the guy has actually assisted me with. In fact, there was a time that I needed a huge amount of money, close to about how much was it? Close to about $15 or $10,000. But he was a major assistant to that money. And so when I was telling him to come and withdraw his money from the company, he said no, that he knows the company will fail. I said, "But we don't need the money anymore." He said he's a director of that company. He's a part of it. And I said, "There's no problem." But since then, we have been growing together. Now, to come back to your question again. Sorry, what's that your question again?
No, the question was, what has been the challenges that you faced in the past and the one you are currently facing?
Now, the first one, as I rightly said from all the story, was fear. Fear of the unknown. How do I leave where I was to go to somewhere else? Even when I know I had some basic business understanding. In fact, I've always planned myself to be a business person, but I was still afraid. I needed that push. And this was the person that did it. It was the person that did it. And now, when we started setting up the company, we had trust issues. Most foreigners don't want to deal with local businesses. You understand? There's the issue of capacity there. These people didn't have capacity to handle such projects. Will they be able to do this? Will they collapse on this amount of projects? You understand? And I go ahead and tell them, "Come, I'm not asking you to give me everything. You understand? Just for us to show. You can give us a part of it. If you trust in your life, give them whatever I want to give them. But this is what we have done. This is what we have done." So fear, capacity building has been an issue which we have gradually built. Now, most of the people with this skill on what we do, you understand, is not in local knowledge. That's just the truth. Instrumentation, measurement, as this is majorly a France team. They come up with measurements and all that. There are people that are very good with this skill. Just the way some of us are good with dancing and all that. It's a natural, I won't say it's natural, but at least there's somewhere that some of these skills, you understand, that we have actually now been able to engineer and give yardstick and all that to it. So I had to look at them, study them, then build this skill. Now, some of these skills are not what you just go and read on the paper, on like programming and all that. Okay? Somebody has to come in, teach you, train. Like now, we have a continuous program with our foreign partners to have our engineers train overseas twice in a year. They go, we have them train, and they come back and help us with our local issues here, support for our local businesses here. So that's just it. Now, even if I that when you have challenges with foreigners, you still have the same challenges with some local businesses. So when is our Rio-Weighing system? Who is your MD? What does MD have to do with the business? You understand? So people want to be sure that their equipment is in good hands. And it takes time to build trust and capacity. So all these ones have been issued. Then finance. I was lucky to have my very lovely brother behind me, a friend. You understand? Because 44,000 I couldn't have taken me to Kwara and back with hotel to execute any project. But I had people that I could call on in the middle of the night that come, have zero business. well, I have to go and do it. Okay, how much is it? Can I have 500,000? At the end of the day, maybe I'll make some money, 1 million, 2 million. That was at the initial stage. So that's how we were able to do. I now got bank involved. We now got Lagos State's Employment Trust Fund. So Lagos State looked at us at the initial stage. They saw that what we're doing was superb. They came in and they partnered with us. So that's how we've been going. But now we have clients as big as Lafarge, we have Flour Mill, Honeywell, Seven Up, the former Adax. I think they are in Sun now. They come, they buy equipment directly from us. It has taken us sometimes. You understand? It has taken us a long time to get here, and it's still going to take us some other time to build up some of this other trust. And eventually, we are going to get to where we are heading. The issue of regulation is also there. Find out that some of these regulations are old, they are still, and there were regulations that were written when our own waste and measure regulations were written, and nobody is willing to go back there to look at this regulation to change them as well. You understand? And once in a while, you have people come in who are not familiar with this industry. They make adjustments. You understand? Adjustment to some of these regulations without even consulting the key players in these industries. So that's another challenge we are having.
So, yeah. Oh, okay. One of the things you mentioned was the challenge of trust and how you guys began to just build trust through competency and active participation within the industry. And you also said capacity was a problem because there are not many people within the local markets that have experience in the kind of business you do. Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, how have you been able to retain your staff in these past 10 years? Because generally, what I think is very common in Nigeria is when people join your business, when they understand the trade or they think they understand the trade, they tend to just, want to go and set up to become a competition to you, or they go and join competitors. So how have you been able to, number one, what is the rate of retention of staff and how have you been able to manage that?
Generally, I've come to realize that knowledge is also. And we are here to contribute our own quota to knowledge. So each time I have a staff coming, I'll have them. In fact, most times I have to go there, especially the ones who train locally. But for those that we put on our schedule to go overseas for training, they're the ones that have come to management level, and those ones we have them committed to the company, and we make sure we are part of their own challenges too. Try to pick up some of their own personal challenges, so that they will not worry too much about other issues. But generally, we've had our staffs living have been like most other companies. You understand? And it's a thing that you can hardly eradicate completely. People come and they go. You understand? This is not the 18th century, the 17th or 16th century where people can actually keep people as slaves. And the truth is, when they live with knowledge, I'm happy when they live with knowledge, because when they go deep down, they will know that this is where I acquired this skill and knowledge. You understand? Of what I am doing. And now there's part of it I think we all miss, that initially that me too I was having issues. Of course, I'm a businessman. You understand? Secrecy and all that should be a key factor. But if you look at the big picture, that knowledge is supposed to be used for a particular purpose. We don't know who will eventually invent the automation equipment that will save us all at the end of the day. The most cost-effective, the one that will end up attached to the most jets that will go to Mars, that will not end up using over there. So I looked at it and said, no, there's no problem. This knowledge actually comes from somewhere and is going somewhere. You might be a transit vessel for that knowledge. So, and you are just looking at the small picture about money, building a house and cars and all that. But the big picture is beyond you. So in fact, the guy that trained me, he did that. The guy that fully trained me when I was moved to electronics, the Scottish, is a Scottish guy. In fact, his name is Richard. You understand? And when he did that without any form of reservation. In fact, I was surprised. At the time, he would give me a system. I had access to documents. There were supposed to be secret documents as well, since if knowledge was actually meant to be hidden. So, but he did that, and I realized that at the end of the day, we are not, we are only a transit test for this knowledge. So when somebody comes and learn, I try to tell them that, look, where is your next step? Please take it easy and bye bye. I don't have any issues with that.
Good stuff. Then you mentioned that most often than not, the people that are putting regulations in place, they might not have knowledge of the industry. And so that's good effect that the regulation should have on the industry haven't been, achieved. So the question is, how have you guys, who are the players in the industry, been engaging the authority or the regulator to support them in identifying what they need to do to, make the industry better? Because without the involvement of the people in the industry, things won't get better. Because you guys, you know what you need and you know what is required to take the industry to the next step.
Well, what I do from my own end is I try as much as possible to educate the public. I have articles on newspapers, publications we do regularly, annually, quarterly. Make sure there are publications there on what is new and applicable in our industry. You understand? And the truth is, we are all trying to rescue government institutions as it were. This institution we are referring to is not one big thing or one big person. If you look at it, at the end of the day, it is all together. It is all of us together. It's not one person that is sitting somewhere. That is institution. When the institutions have problem, it is all of us together that have that problem. So what me I just do, I look at it and I try to say, okay, I think a lot of people are not aware of what this thing actually is. Why not write about it, review it, then we pass it through our media, we'll have it published in the dailies and the social medias and all that. Now, all our institutions eventually will get stronger. You understand? Because if we can't compete, you will be thrown aside. So, because eventually, if we don't want to be thrown aside, we will compete. And when we want to compete, these institutions themselves will pick up their legs. They would eventually. And they will not go back and pick up some of these things that, but this man has been saying this in the dailies now. I might not be around then, or maybe somebody else have taken up the mantle, And that's what I believe. Institutions are not built overnight. It takes time. The kind of problem that we have, the kind of problem that we have in some of our other institutions like judiciary, what do you call them, skills, is the same one we're having in engineering, educational institutions and all that. But I think gradually, with time and with our own commitments, we will build something that is stronger that we can look back to. Eventually, these institutions are the key parts that gives us, that informs our economy. They are the key parts that directs our religious belief and path. And at the end of it, they won't have good institutions. Now, when people come and say, okay, they want certain beliefs to come into this, people say, no, this is not, it's foreign to us. This can't be what we do. You understand? Our religious institutions will come over and say, our forefathers don't know it. When we build business of character and character together over time, these things will stand. In the weighing and automation industries, it's still young in Nigeria. You understand? We can talk about it's still young. The knowledge that is still young. The first company that came into Nigeria with these skills, they came in 2 years before independence. They came in 1958. But I look at 1958 and look at the time, so it's still a young industry. Now, these same people have not deemed it fit to start a production plant in Nigeria. Haven't stayed over how many, 6 something years. You understand? up to 70 years away, but they've not deemed it fit to want to start a production plant. You can imagine how the other would have. But now we have people that are trying to produce from South Africa. We have guys that in South Africa that are producing. We have guys overseas that we need. Even small countries with less than 1/3 of our population are producing this equipment. Look, I'm not saying that we should go and reinvent the wheel. No. We can start somewhere and build up something that we can leave for other people to continue.
This brings me to, I think 2 years ago, you wanted to go into manufacturing yourself because you were talking about backward integration and you were looking at the major part of the equipment you sell, which is steel. We have that capacity in Nigeria. It's all about design, welding, and that's basically what is required to build that part. The only part that would be you were planning to just be importing at the time were just the electronic aspect of it, right? So how far have you gone on the manufacturing?
Now, few months ago, Dangote was trying to go into the steel production. In fact, we are all excited. But I think it will still come. Businessmen will say this just to test the water. Eventually, somebody, even if not Dangote, will come into the steel industry and change it completely. Look at what Tata did to steel production in India. They moved from India and now went to bought over the big foundry from in the UK. You understand? Where he started producing cars and all that. Now, these are key backbones of our economy. I looked at it. Most of our products, over 90%, they're basically imported. And these are simple designs. You understand? If I was a lawyer in this field, I won't be bothered. But I'm an engineer. I notice that these are things that we can do here. These are not, you understand? I'm not saying it's easy, but these are 110% doable. You understand? Why should we go and import welded steel all the way from China or India or UK or US? We can get good fabrication units here. We can get good designs here that suit our environment. You understand? So I now said, okay, we're already into automation, we're into weighing, we're into packaging. You understand? We can fit these three systems together, backward integrate, and produce something that will not only make us live a good legacy, but will make us live a good knowledge for people that will come behind us. You understand? Skill sets for people that will take over from us in a very near future. Now, what we want to do is to have a very good packaging unit. You understand? Why not look at agriculture? Understand? Synergize with other people, get a warehouse, produce crops, package them. Now, if we are packaging these products, we can confidently do it at about 10-15% down than most other people because we have the skill there, we have the knowledge. So we can get other people to get into it and pass some of these things around. Not necessarily compete with people that are already. You can look at what they are doing overseas. They are importing down to the country to get it and do it since we already have some of these skills. The same thing with fabrication. So we look at instead of getting a weight bridge all the way from the US, why not get our own design? We already have our partners. We already have our partners that are producing for us with our own brand of equipment. That by mid 2025, we push those products into the market. As soon as those products come into the market, we'll still use the same fundamental principles, equipment, design, to start producing it locally. I'm not saying we won't have issues. So power is a major issue that I have. Power is a major issue. Security is a major issue. Finance is a major issue. Trust is a major issue. Nobody wants to give his money to somebody that come after 5 years and say, and hear stories about them. You understand? Oh, we've gone beyond some of these challenges, and we intend to go above them and still perform and execute. So yes, we already have a factory in design. We have a product that we are looking at manufacturing, where we can use, instead of importing 95% of this product from overseas, we can get at least, you understand, over 60%, 70% of them locally done here. You understand? There are some of them, like the electronic low cells that need uh, uh, high technology to design, precision equipment that will cost a lot of money to build that kind of facility. We can give that one to our partners to help us produce. You know, most
Okay, but
them
even
import.
the steel parts that you are looking to manufacture or produce locally, what about raw material? Are you going to be importing, or are there steel mills in Nigeria that can support your production?
So we have steel mill, still have steel mills that are producing steel. I think one of the major issues is that the cost of getting local steels and compared to the ones that imported. You find out that there is no some because some of them they get government tested overseas and they come at the end of the day, they come here, they still land here almost at the same price. But the ones that you get from overseas, you are sure of their quality, because the kind of systems they've gone through. You understand? You're sure of the material. Just but some of the ones they do, they just already put them together. Yeah, you understand? But we still have steel locally. And who says our steel industry can't improve? You understand? What we want to do is we will be getting some of the materials here now. We'll look at the prices locally, look at the prices of getting them overseas, and look who we partner with locally to get these things on ground. You understand that? That's how we intend to go. We won't go out right there and say, no, we're not buying from this store, we're not buying from this. But at the end of the day, even when we get the steel from overseas, the pure steel as it is, or we get the steels locally, we find out that the cost, you understand, you tend to employ more people for the fabrication unit. You're going to get a fabrication plant. You're going to get overhead cranes, get welders, get people that work there. You understand, sales rep and all that. We'll be putting more into the system than giving it completely for somebody to manufacture us, just for you to market and maintain.
Yeah, true. So you, as one of the leaders in weighing industry in Nigeria, what would you say is the future of that industry in Nigeria?
But you see, the weight industry is a support industry, and that's why, as you know, as as a key part of my dream is, come, I'm not going to build an aeroplane manufacturing plant. You understand? Well, if somebody dreams of building an aeroplane manufacturing plant, we should be there to support him locally. He doesn't have to import the Chinese, import the Indians, or import Americans to come and support his aeroplane manufacturer. If you want to build a raw material processing plant in Nigeria, we should be able to support you fully, 100% local content. You understand? Now, now if sorry, come again with your question. I think I missed
I
your
said,
question. I'm
what
sorry.
is the future of the weighing industry
Okay,
in
okay,
Nigeria?
okay. Okay, now it's basically a support system. Now, our dream is if people continue to dream, we should be there to support them. Now, as I said earlier, Nigeria is still going to change. We can't continue the way we are. Manufacturing will pick up. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but eventually it has to pick up. We all know what is happening in the ports. We all know the issues. We know the drive of the government now. It has to be produced. Call it agriculture, call it animal farming, call it whatever you want to call it. Eventually, you produce. And at the line of all this production, this animal farming, you have other things that you can process from them. Crop farming, you have other things you can process from them. The fish farming, you have other things you can process from them. Then don't talk about other industries. So as long as these industries are becoming, people are looking into them, the weighing industries will grow. Is as still now the weighing industry is at, I would just say maybe like 3 or 4% functional in Nigeria. 3 or 4% function. But eventually it will peak. So we still have, if I say it's about 3 or 4%, so we have about 96% growth that is very, very possible. You understand? And you can't actually do anything without measuring. You understand? You measure your tablets, you weigh them, you package them. If you want to send goods, if it's just logistics, you measure, you weigh. You understand? You dimension. All those ones are optimization and weighing. You understand? You can't transact anything with anybody without weighing. In fact, conversational, you have to weigh your words as against other people's words. But of course, you don't weigh conversation. But basically, it's a complete system. You have to weigh to sell to buy. You understand? How many kilograms is it? I'm sending you a bicycle. You understand? No problem. Send it. This one is straight. My motor cannot carry it. How many kilograms is it? What's it going to People want to know. The same thing for the health industry. You understand? So it's vast. It's still young, very, very young. Currently in the country, we are among the top 3 automation and brain company. And when I
So
look
that's why
back,
I asked you the question. That's why I said, as a leader in that industry, because I know that you guys are very strong
no,
in the business, in the
no, we
industry.
are. We are. When I look back and I look how small we have achieved in the vision I have for what we are doing, you understand? I know there is a lot of work. So the industry still has a lot of growth in it. Still does. And we still have neighboring countries, Nigeria, Ghana. People come to us for solutions from Ghana. You understand? So it's a very big space, but it is a niche knowledge. But
Yeah.
the application and support, you understand, is very huge.
So how would you say the government can support you, both the state governments and the federal governments, to, you know, grow the industry?
As I said, when we started, I started with 44,000. The I don't think we have any staff that is earning twice that amount. But what I want to say is this: we've had governments that have supported us. We wouldn't have gotten this far without Lagos State government. There's no saying it. In fact, when the help came just before COVID, now during COVID we were really stagnant. We had a lot of products, we had a lot of anticipation, but COVID just kept us at bay. But it was Lagos State money that saw us through COVID and brought us back to business. So there's a lot government can do. I look at people, couple of billions here and there, and I wonder if you have 5 billion, 10 billion, let's even say what do you call it now, 3 billion, 4 billion, you can set up something that can assist a lot of people. Not even the monetary part of it, or financial part of it, the skill part of it, the knowledge part of it, the security part of it. You bring a lot of people out of unemployment. You understand? For federal government, I think basically it's going to be regulation. Federal government has to be regulation. You understand? Instead of them giving people money of what they call handouts and all that, I think they should use that money to train people on regulation. When people know the impact, in fact, I was in a forum a few months back, and we had a financial analyst that was now trying to analyze when the dollar will gain value and all. Just stood up and I look at him that. I look at the whole class. We are all Nigerians. We are in Nigeria. Why do we want to know when dollar will go up? He said, for us, personally, we'll buy dollar. In fact, by the time you have a total sum of everybody's wealth in that class, there's no way to be less than say 60 to 70 billion, the people that were in that class. And I look at the man, are you saying that we should leave our responsibility as Nigeria to buy dollar? So that what will happen? We'll not make few money. What will not happen? We'll use the same money to go to market where things have become expensive. Because it will get expensive now because of our act. You understand? Now what will not happen? We'll create insecurity, unemployment. We are betting against ourselves. And this thing is common. So going back to regulations, when people know what the effect of what they do, if you go to ministries, you need something done, and the person doesn't look at it that, well, you can come back tomorrow. He doesn't know the impact of what he do. He doesn't know. If that thing has to go out, it has to go out. Even if it means he does an overtime job or stuff like that, I don't know how to put it. He put an extra effort because eventually we are all in it together.
Together. Yes.
You can't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
100.
Nobody goes to Canada and forgets all his family here. It doesn't happen. So if it doesn't
You know,
affect you
one of
directly,
the
it will affect your cousin. It will affect you. You know, when people make decisions, I would not sit down and laugh. So we had an
one of
issue
the
sometimes ago. Sorry, we had an issue sometimes ago. One of these staff they came that they want to, which was a sign, a very big sign outside. So I said, "What's the problem?" And I said, "We are paid and check your document." He said, "No, you shouldn't get the document." I just left all of them. So our admin lady was not calling me that the man said she should. So I said you should tell him to sign. And I said, "Why should I say she should?" I thought I said he thought I said the document. I said, "I told you the documents were there. Check online, check this thing." And I sent the lady WhatsApp screen. And I said, "I should have said to her." I said, "I told you before you say you remove the sign." And I said, "Why did I say I said you should remove the sign now? Said you want to give people work, you want to take people's job. The same people will come back and relay you later when the time comes back. We are just trying to solve problems. Nobody's you understand? So all of us, our decisions, our effects comes back if together we don't put our heads together and say, "No, this thing must not spoil." You understand what I'm saying? So that's the government part of it. Government should train people, let them know the effect of that. Because when people make decisions, I just realize that because they don't know what they are doing. It's pure ignorance. You understand? Why would you want to take maybe 500,000 and destroy an industry? You take 500,000 you destroy an industry that is worth trillions of dollars, like mining. You understand? Where you could have crop of engineers, geologists, you understand, working and they are doing well. So it baffles me because they don't know the effect of what they are doing. And maybe because we have wrong people, through training, you'll be able to remove those that you know that they're not fit in this place. You understand? And government should make positions, institutions competitive. Let them compete against each other. That's the only way we can root out some of these people that are not meant to be in this place, so that they don't unnecessarily frustrate businesses that are meant to build the economy. So training.
so your enthusiasm and your drive in what you do is very, very contagious, I must say. And of course, we go back a long time. I'm just happy that you have not, wavered in your positivity about one, your industry, number two, about Nigeria itself. That's very, very encouraging. In closing, what would you say to somebody out there that is looking to start something, just like you have started? It's 10 years down the line for you. You have huge experience running business in Nigeria, and you haven't just done it, you have done it successfully. What would you say to a young person out there watching this video as a word of encouragement?
Well, I would, I should really said, son, we are all not cut out for entrepreneurship. There are times that people told my staff that if I had known, I would have remained in employment. I said that a lot of times. Especially when the heat becomes so hot, you understand? And I would tell them, if it keeps you up late in the night, do something about it. Don't just talk about it. Do something about it. We all can't change the world. You understand? I don't think a Superman is around. You understand? We are all human beings, and it's the bits that we can do that we should start from. It's that bits and bits and bits and bits. Now we all can be the show race. We all can be the Tunubus that are in that position. But we are somewhere. We can start from where we are. We remain truthful, steadfast. You understand? Turn up, do the best you can. You understand? And improve on yourself. You'll be amazed, you understand, on how much you can achieve. The best you are today is not the best you'll be tomorrow. You learn today, develop
100%.
your improve on it. When you come back tomorrow, you are better and stronger. There are several decisions that I've taken that I will look at myself, I will laugh. You understand? Somebody will call me that they need product of over 300 million. I'll just be laughing at myself. Nah, okay, the plan I don't put this. Don't worry yourself. They are coming here. They are not going anywhere else because I know what you are putting to what you have to get to where you are today. So it takes time. You understand? I don't think Facebook would have done their several billion before 10, maybe 2, 3, 4 years. But we are not Facebook. We all can be Facebook. You understand? But the bits you can do, we should all persist and do them. As long as you do them to the best of our hearts, that's why I keep telling people, as long as you do it to the best of your heart, you can sleep well. Sam, if it's disturbing you, do something about it. Then grow up with that.
Thank you so much, my friend, for your time. And
Thank you.
hopefully, we will catch up again to just, see
Mm.
how you guys are progressing in what you do. And this is a very, very interesting chat. And I'm grateful for your time.
No, thank you. I'm really happy to have you. Thank you very
Peace,
much.
Baba.
Yes, sir.